Very good evening, DK. How are you doing? So fantastic.
Very good, very good.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays.
Well, I'm very privileged to have one of the top personality from the IT sector and one of the very big name in the IT who has a total market dominance in the IT sector. And I'm very privileged to have you, sir, for this panel. Mr. Dharmendra Kapoor is the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Birlasoft and is commonly known in industry circle as DK. So DK comes with 30 years of experience in the IT sector and is recognized across the industry as a thought leader. DK co-owns patents around cloud and digital technology, and Dharmendra joined actually Birlasoft from HCL Technology, where he was heading business and technology transformation solutions. He was among the very key leaders of the strategic merger and acquisition team and was responsible for the acquisition and integration of KPITs in IT business. With Birlasoft's core business leading to the birth of a new mid-tier enterprise digital and IT transformation service publicly listed company, Birlasoft Limited, in fact, has emerged out as one of the top IT company having a tremendous business and revenue in the overseas market, especially in the US. And the topic that he is going to speak is a very good, is a subject which is chosen by me. And in fact, that is also a subject which also likes most. We're going to discuss about the business implications of IT in the era of Joe Biden. The presidency of Joe Biden, how it is going to impact the IT business. The floor is yours, Mr. Kapoor.
Thank you very much, Satya, and thanks for the invitation for speaking on this topic. This is definitely one topic which is absolutely hot out of the oven. And as you can imagine, there are so many anticipations that are there with respect to what will happen post Biden takes over as president in US. So let me begin this discussion by quoting one of the title of the book. The book was The World is Flat. This was the book that was published in 2005 by Thomas Friedman. And it talked about that how the whole economy is becoming global, how there are interdependencies between the countries and the boundaries do not exist. When that book was there, I read that book and I said that, yes, absolutely true. That's how the market is opening up. India was opening up at that time in a big way. And it absolutely resonated with my thought process. But if you look at in the last one decade, or maybe lesser than that, there were a lot of conservative policies that started coming into the play almost in every single country. Everybody started becoming more and more conservative. They said that why should we be losing the jobs and why should not we be having our own products? And I started thinking, oh my God, the world is not as much flat as it was made out to be in that book. But after that, if you look at what has happened in the last 9 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen how the interdependencies are working out and how it is becoming far more clearer that it will be very difficult for any country to survive without the help of other country. We saw the session from Rajiv just before this session where he said that how even the small things as syringes are going to be produced in one corner of the world and will get distributed across. So that is the level of dependencies. At the same time, the vaccines are being developed in different countries and that are going to be made available. So we cannot be talking about boundaries. At the same time, how technology has become omnipresent is making us feel again that the world was always very flat and it has never been flatter as much as it is today. So in my opinion, even talking about the global level is not sufficient because now even the boundaries are breaking and the whole world is shrinking where it will only be survived by working with each other rather than working separately or working alone. So that's the situation in which Biden is coming and taking this role. And I'll come to that again. But before that, imagine a situation where Apple is selling only to Americans, Samsung is selling only to Koreans, or let's say OnePlus is selling to Chinese and BMW is selling only to Germans. It is not going to be possible. These brands have been global and will remain global forever. And hence there will be interdependencies that will be there, and that must be respected. Only then we can have a free economy. Only then we can have a growing economy across the globe, and that is what is in need. Coming to the technology sector, if you look at the Indian IT companies, they work with 3/4 of the Fortune 500 companies in the US alone, and we provide them the vital technology services and helping them innovate, compete, and grow. The Indian technology industry makes critical contributions to the US economy and workforce, including local investments and job creation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the role of technology sector has become even more indispensable. Maintaining critical infrastructure, including health infrastructure, working on molecules for developing the vaccine, promoting employees to work from home. And it was not possible if the talent was not cutting across multiple countries, if the infrastructure was not globally available anywhere, and if the education was not available online. You can imagine how the situation was going to be during these 9 months. And it is not something that is going to get over once the vaccine is there. This is going to be the new normal. And as an IT person or as an IT industry person, I hope that the new regime under the US President-elect, Joe Biden, gives importance to the technology skill sets and economic growth of the US. We now live in irreversible digital world. If the 2000, that decade was the infrastructure going on cloud, in the last 8 to 10 years, we have seen the software going on cloud. So everything is moving on the cloud. And in my opinion, the next decade is going to be putting talent on the cloud, because it will become absolutely difficult to live without having that talent available in whichever part of the world where we can get the best talent. So the talent is being put on the cloud. In my opinion, a lot has been done in the last 9 months, where it does not matter whether all the people are sitting in one office or not. In fact, that has become a restriction, that if everybody is sitting in one office, what if the infection spreads, then the whole office is down. It actually is a requirement that people are sitting in the diverse locations, and it is being considered as safe. So if that is going to be the situation and talent is going to move on to the cloud, I hope Biden government, or for that matter, any government of any other country, will not impede, but will enable the process of breaking boundaries and create open economy. Now let us look at what is required for the fairer immigration rules, because that is at the core of creating the talent on the cloud or talent on the tap. During the election campaign, Biden had come across as pro-skilled immigration leader, had supported the expansion of the number of high-skilled visas and the elimination of the limits on employment-based visa by country. Changes announced to the H-1B program will restrict access to the talent and will harm the American economy. And I'm happy that it has been acknowledged by many multinationals, at the same time many governments, that the US interest is at risk, and it will slow down the R&D and innovation if we do not let the talent be available based on the need that is there globally at any country or at any location. Study after studies have demonstrated that the H-1B program plays an essential role in helping US enterprises secure skill set. They cannot find those skill set locally, and also they need to benefit from what gets made available through India or any other country for that matter. If you look at the Indian IT companies, take only less than 10% of the H-1B visas. More than 90% of those visas are actually used by the multinational corporations of those countries. Hence, if we are not being open about it, if there are restrictions being put on that, it is going to harm more local companies of those countries rather than Indian companies alone. Hence, it becomes apparent that that has to be reversed. Those decisions have to be reversed, and there has to be a better, a free economy, better availability of the visas for all those people. At the same time, if you look at our visa is on the one side, we also need to look at that the economic growth is directly proportional to the skill set availability or the talent availability. The US market needs to be able to access skilled talent for its business, especially during the COVID-19 situation and through the recovery phase. The IT industry looks forward to working together with the US administration. In fact, we are already working with a lot of companies, also with a lot of authorities, as to how do we find solutions to close the gap that is there today in the technology space, in the mathematics space, or the engineering and science space. We are already working with multiple multinational companies as well as with the governments. A key challenge the sector faces today is the lack of that skill or the lack of STEM skills in the US. This is one side where the skills are lacking. On the other side, there are 500,000 job vacancies that are there today in the computer occupation in the US. So that gap has to be filled, and that is only possible if the policies are reversed and the policies are changed to make it suitable for pro-skilled immigration. And I absolutely agree with the thought process that when the Biden government is going to come, it is going to look at in a more positive way, because even if you look historically, the Democratic president's party or the Democratic Party has given on an average of 11% annual returns, whereas the Republicans have given 7%. Now we can argue about that. Yes, Republicans have gone through this situation, but I think more importantly, I will try to push on one clear point, and that is that in the last 5 years or 4 years, if you look at, the biggest challenge, in my opinion, was not about which government was there, but it was the lack of predictability. When you cannot predict the actions, when you cannot predict the future, when you cannot predict what are the plans and the goals, it becomes very difficult for the business to plan and react to the situation. I think that was the major gap that happened the last 3-4 years in the US, and for that matter in some other economies as well. If I take a little bit of what we have done in Birlasoft, for last 2 years, we had clearly focused on that how do we make our organization very predictable. And that's the reason that when I look at Biden's presidency coming in, the one thing that I hope the most is that the next 4 years are going to be very, very predictable years. We do not get surprises on every third month where we had to replan or we had to define our strategies again as to what is going to happen, because either visas are not going to be there, or the companies are going to behave very differently, or the tax rules are going to change, or there are going to be other things that are going to come which may put a lot of hurdles in front of the organizations. So my value for Birlasoft always had been that if we are predictable, our investors would love it. Our stakeholders and shareholders would love it. And that, in my opinion, is very true for the countries also, that they need to make the policies far more predictable. And that is what I really hope from the presidency of Biden as it takes shape in the next 1 or 2 months. Coming to how will we work with that, I believe that we are an enterprise digital company. The whole world is becoming digital, and in my opinion, it is irreversible. Somebody imagining that no, we will not be global or we will not break the boundaries, they are going to hurt their own businesses. I talked about the examples of BMW, Apple, I talked about the Samsungs of the world. They are able to do that because the boundaries are broken. Every single business has to start seeing that how do we break the boundaries, how do we create more and more business value by using the digital technologies. So it is going to be absolutely irreversible. If Amazon is here in India today or in any other country, it is because those boundaries have been broken. And I think that is going to be applied as a business model to almost every single business. And if that is the case, India will play a very, very crucial role in filling the technology gap as well as the talent gap in delivering that technology or in adoption of that technology. And we being enterprise, a digital company, we know how to raise the enterprises to the power of digital. And that had been our focus area. And we believe that we can play a very significant role in that. It is likely that Biden's regime is expected to give importance to the technology skill sets and economic growth. This in turn is likely to give thrust towards IT spending, thereby increasing the prospects of the Indian IT services companies in the US as well as in India. That is what was my summary around Biden's presidency and how it is going to positively impact IT industry, not only in India but across the globe. Would love to have any questions, Satya, if there are any.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Will the business of Birlasoft going to increase with the Biden presidency because it's going to be much more predictable, unlike Donald Trump, which was highly unpredictable. Nobody believed what he was saying. Even he was reluctant to leave his office also. With Biden coming in, I think the regime of Barack Obama's policies are going to be revived. I think this is what going to change the very complexion of the IT sector in India. And I think the entire IT business in India will flourish because I believe that more than India, America needs us actually in terms of the jobs, in terms of the business, everything. So what do you have to say on this?
So there are two things that will accelerate the IT business very clearly. One definitely is that the predictability that I talked about, that as Biden becomes president, the regime is going to be far more predictable. That means that it will help IT companies plan better. So that is one thing that is going to give us the clear advantage. The second is, as we always say, that there is always an opportunity in the adversity. We know that we are going through this COVID challenges, but the level of technology adoption that we have seen in the last 9 months, the level of digital technology adoption that we've seen in 9 months, we had not seen that in the last 4 years. And if COVID was not going to happen, we would have not seen that for the next 3 to 4 years also. So if you compress those 3 or 4 years for future into these 9 months, you can understand that every company would be talking about increasing the spend on technology. It will be very difficult for them to say that I can live without technology. It is going to become a survival issue and not only a matter of differentiation. If that is going to be a survival issue, they are going to spend more and more money, and that would mean more business on technology companies that they can gain from.
Thank you very much, DK, for this wonderful insights. It has been a privilege on the show. I wish I had more time so that we could have elaborated in detail. I think to talk about Joe Biden's presidency and its impact on Indian IT business will require a whole for a 24-hour day, to discuss about it. But we'll leave it there with a positive note that Indian IT are going to flourish post Biden presidency, and business will be much more predictable, and this is going to be much more favorable to India. Thank you very much for coming on the show. It has been really a privilege, actually. It's been really fantastic.
Thank you very much, Satya. Thank you.
Thank you.